your boy Dan, aka aDrive, bringing guys a brand new Pokemon Sword and Shield video today. Now in this video, I'm going to be breaking down this post here on Reddit that I found to be pretty interesting. We're going to have a discussion about Pokemon Sword and Shield. I'm not going to show any gameplay pictures or anything like that because I don't want to put myself in a situation where I could get in trouble. But a couple users have been putting together this list of problems or issues with Pokemon Sword and Shield. I wanted to talk about them, kind of give my thoughts, and then open up the discussion for you guys in the comment section below. I do, however, ask that if you do leave a comment, please try to be respectful, not only for the channel, but for other people you might engage with. There's really no reason to start arguments over a video game, and definitely not over Pokemon. So, without further ado, I'm going to kind of jump into things here and really break down this post, kind of acknowledge some of the things, because a lot of people tweeted me this post. They're like, aDrive, I need to hear your thoughts on this, and I've been one of the positive beacons in this community. If you don't watch my videos, I've been so excited for Sword and Shield, and after reading this post, my excitement hasn't changed. I'm still really excited for Sword and Shield, and I'm gonna break all this stuff down and really give my honest thoughts on everything, and hopefully we can kind of come to a conclusion that makes people happy, or at least inform you guys. It's my job as a content creator to entertain, but also to educate, and I don't think it would be me doing my job right if I didn't shed some light on some of the more negative things of Pokemon Sword and Shield. So let's jump into it. Now, I will say before I go much further, I do want to say, obviously, I'm excited about the games. Like, I'm really excited, genuinely excited. Forget being a YouTuber, forget being a streamer. I really am excited for the game. So I'm gonna break it down here. Hit that like button down below, guys. Subscribe if you guys are new. Let's talk about it. So this is an individual's post, and they've kind of gotten some help from other people and stuff like that. So it says the number of, and we'll break it down one thing at a time. First point is the number of Pokemon has been cut, known as Dexit or Bring Back National Dex. And then there's a list of all the Pokemon that have been cut. Game Freak has said that it's because of better animations and all this other stuff, yada, yada, yada. Okay, so we've talked about the Pokedex stuff at length. Listen, there's Pokemon cut. At the end of the day, I can get over that. I was upset about it at first, but as a Pokemon fan, I can get over it because I'm still excited for the game. Whether I have 8 million Pokemon or 400 Pokemon or whatever it is, I'm still gonna be excited to play the game because it's Pokemon. I love Pokemon, and I don't necessarily think that you need a big dex to make for a good game. That's my honest thoughts. Now, I also think that there's some value in competitive, and I made a whole video about why I think the dex thing could actually be a good thing. And yes, there's counter arguments, and you can play devil's advocate or totally disagree, and that's fine. I think at this point, to bring that up again is like, we need to just be over it, because obviously it is what it is. I've learned in life that sometimes you just have to kind of move on. And I'm actually going to give you this analogy before I go any further, because I brought this up on stream and I thought it was really cool. A good example. So my wife and I love each other very much, right? And I love my wife and she loves me, but there's things that I do that upset my wife, right? Sometimes I don't do the dishes. Sometimes I'm pretty bad at folding laundry or putting laundry away. Sometimes I forget to do some of the things that I should do that are my responsibilities, like take the garbage out, things like that, right? But at the end of the day, she could see past those things because she knows that I care about her. I'm a good person deep down, obviously. I'm passionate about what I do, and she knows that I'm gonna be a great life partner for the rest of our lives. So she could see past the fact that I'm less than perfect, because I am not perfect. She could see past that, and ultimately, you know, still thinks I'm perfect, right? So I'm not saying we have to think Sword and Shield is perfect, but I can see past some of these flaws personally. But let's keep moving. The next thing is, just like the Pokemon cut, there were a lot of moves removed. 144 moves removed. 99 moves excluding the Let's Go and Outlier moves. So ignore the 144, because really it's the 99, because there's so many of like custom EV moves, things like that. The biggest thing here is Hidden Power, Return Frustration, and Pursuit, on top of extremely old moves that have been there since Gen 1. I don't think, and there's some signature moves that have been removed, but that's because they removed the Pokemon. So the signature moves aren't a big deal. They removed those Pokemon. So let's assume Deonce's Diamond Storm isn't in the game. Why does it need to be in the game if Deonce's not in the game? I don't think that's that big of a deal. In terms of things like Hidden Power, Return, Frustration, or Pursuit, I'm a little bummed to see Pursuit go, because I felt like that was one of the things that made Dark types pretty unique, and it's a really cool way to kind of trap Psychic types. Return and Frustration, it worked for some Pokemon, but it's just a normal type move. 102 base power, it's not that big of a deal. And Hidden Power is the big one that got removed. And honestly, I'm actually welcoming the change of no Hidden Power, because I think it could be really cool and competitive. No longer can you slap a Hidden Power on something to deal with Ferrothorn. You're gonna have to have a way to deal with Ferrothorn in general. Now that may be incredibly annoying, or it may be really cool and diverse and competitive. So I'm open-minded to seeing them cutting moves and how it's gonna impact the metagame in a potentially positive way. I don't necessarily think that this is a negative. You could look at it as a negative. I don't think it has to be a negative. Removing a few moves here and there is not that big of a deal. They added new moves. They tweaked moves, I'm assuming. They definitely tweaked some moves. I know Rapid Spin's tweaked. So is it really that big of a deal? I personally don't think so. But nevertheless, it's a point. Short game. The first streamer beat the game in around 14 hours. He did this by skipping some trainers. Other streamers are clocking in around 16 to 20 hours. He clocked in the champion at 14:34. Now, I'll be honest, that's pretty short, 15 hours for a Pokemon game. But I would say for most of us, if you're playing through the game, you're catching the Pokemon, all that stuff, and you're actually trying to complete the main area, the main story, 15 to 20 hours is not that crazy. I mean, I would say that's pretty in line with most Pokemon games we've gotten. I didn't go into this game expecting it to be a 50-hour journey, and in fact, I don't even think that's a good idea because people don't have the attention span to play that much. And I know I might sound like I work for Game Freak when I say this, but I genuinely don't think that it's realistic to expect people to say, okay, I'm gonna dedicate, 50 hours to a story. That would drag on so much, man. I honestly think that 15 to 20 hours for a story, that's totally feasible because I want to get to the post game anyway, and that's where these games are supposed to shine anyways, the post game. So I don't think that the time to beat the game is that big of a deal because that's 15 hours to beat the champion. That's not 15 hours to complete the Pokedex, to do max raid battles and get your Pokemon, whatever it may be, right? The graphics are extremely mediocre. It looks worse and less polished than Let's Go. The textures are inexcusable. Here's some example of bad graphics. Okay, so I'm not gonna click on any of these images because there's probably spoilers and gameplay that shouldn't be shown yet, so I can't click on any of that. But I'm gonna say this about graphics. I don't think that the graphics are that big of a deal. I don't play Pokemon for the graphics, and when you think about Pokemon and how far it's come since X and Y and Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, or Sun and Moon and Ultra Sun and Moon, I think it's incredible how the game looks. There's some beautiful areas that we've seen in screenshots that look incredible. So I don't necessarily think a little clipping here or a shadow that's off here or a little bit of blur here or whatever is that big of a deal. It's not gonna ruin my gameplay experience personally. Now, I understand that there's standards and we should expect a lot, but I'm not gonna let a little bit of non-perfect graphics ruin my experience. That's just how I am. I don't really think it's that big of a deal. And by the way, I want to mention, no one nitpicked Ultra Sun and Moon like this. Nobody nitpicked Ultra Sun and Moon like this. I mean, look at the graphics on that game. They're garbage. There's constant graphical issues, not just low quality graphics, but pop is present at points due to bad coding. Trainer models will sometimes disappear. There's also some carryover. There's some code that they pasted over from Sun and Moon. Some trainers disappearing mid-battle. Again, if it happens every battle, then that's obviously annoying. But if it happens 5 times in the gameplay, like, you're not even gonna notice it most of the time, in my opinion. Anyway, I don't think it's that big of a deal. We know Pokemon games have a tendency to lag, especially when you're not docked. They lag sometimes, man, it happens. It is what it is, Since a lot of people think that the pop in this section needs to be extended, pop-ins are, I guess pop-ins are like the little characters and then they like load out when you kind of, I don't know. They explain it here a little bit more. Game Freak decided not to do anything with any other techniques, and then the Switch powerful enough, and they say it's only 30% or 30 FPS. So you can't actually do 60 FPS, it's only 30 FPS. So it is what it is. Now, animations, this is a big one that a lot of people talk about. They're saying that the animations are lazy. Now, I made this argument, months ago about the fact that I don't really think it's that big of a deal if Tail Whip is a very simple animation. If the cool moves have cool animations, that's awesome, but I don't need Growl to be anything crazy, if I'm being honest. I don't think it's that big of a deal. And the fact that there's some scenes of How and Hop doing the exact same animations, listen, that's kind of lame. I'm not gonna try to defend that, but it is what it is. Like, am I gonna be mad because Hop's doing the same thing How was doing 3 years ago? I'm not gonna be mad about it. Again, I don't care. Cutscenes and restrictions. There's no, I think this talks about the fact that there's some cutscene intrusion. It's more, I can't speak to that really. And then the difficulty, just like the cutscene, this carries over. Pokemon has never been a hard game. I can name on one hand the difficult moments in Pokemon. Ultra Necrozma, the Araquanid trial. I mean, Pokemon in general is not hard. You have to put the challenge on yourself. You have to remember this game is for all ages. It is for every age. It's for the 8-year-old little aDrive who's picking up Red and Blue for the first time. It's for the 30-year-old, me in 2 years playing the game, right? It's for all ages and it has to be that way. I do think the experience share should have been toggleable. I don't think that's excusable, but at the end of the day, it's up to you to put the challenge. That's why people have Nuzlocke, people do challenge in the first place, type only challenges, like I'm doing a bug playthrough starting on Friday. I mean, that you can't expect them to put the difficulty in my opinion. Like, the game isn't gonna be hard. It's gotta be, average. They could add difficulty settings. That's a better point in my opinion. Anyway, post-game is almost non-existent. I can't comment to that because I don't know. I think there's a battle tower. Yeah, there's a battle tower. There's some missions, yada, yada, yada. They're saying the battle tier is inferior. I think the post game for this game is max raid battles and competitive. I've said this so many times that this game is definitely focused on competitive Pokemon, so we'll have to see what the competitive metagame is like. Shiny hunting, competitive, catching all the Pokemon, that's the gist, right? Problems with the game design and behavior. There's problem with the overall design. So this is it. This is saying if you find a Pokemon, so as you unlock gym badges, you can catch higher level Pokemon. So if you're in the wild area and you don't have any badges and like a level 35 Vespiquen comes and attacks you, you actually can't catch it. It could be shiny as well, as far as we know, and you might not be able to catch it. So that's kind of annoying, but it makes sense, right? If Pokemon ever move to open world, like the wild area is, there has to be some different restrictions that keep you from proceeding, and it makes so much sense that in an open world game, you'd run into things you can't defeat. That's just, I mean, think about it. If you're playing Skyrim, and this is the best example I could make, in Skyrim, when you're walking around in Skyrim, if you stumble upon an area that you can't beat yet, the enemies are so strong that they beat you. Why would you shouldn't be able to beat them at that point, and without some crazy luck or strategy, right? So that's not that crazy in my opinion, all right? I actually like that feature. It's annoying if you find a shiny, yes, but overall I think it's a good idea. For shiny hunters, this one's gonna be important. You cannot see the Pokemon or if it's shiny in the overworld. So you do have to encounter the Pokemon to determine if it's shiny. There's proof of that. There's a video of someone running into a new Pokemon. It wasn't shiny in the overworld, but it was shiny when it appeared. I would have liked to see shinies in the overworld like it was in Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, but I'm honestly not that perturbed about it. And I'm probably the biggest shiny hunter fan that there is, right? Like I shiny hunt like nobody's business, and I'm okay with it because you still get the surprise when you encounter it as opposed to the surprise when it pops up. And honestly, you're less likely to fail because people failed shinies all the time that were on their screen that they didn't know. At least now you won't know. Maybe the shinies determine when you run into it anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Probably not though. Remove past features with virtually no gimmicks. So again, until I play the game, I can't really comment on that. This talks about megas and Z moves, and again, this is for you know, balancing. They remove megas, they remove Z moves, they're focusing on Dynamax, which is like a hybrid of the two. I don't really feel like that's a fair point. I'm a big mega fan, less of a Z move fan, but again, Dynamaxing is the new thing. It is what it is. Like, either embrace the Dynamax or don't. There's some features that are removed. They say the scaling and the models are off. Again, things that I'm gonna get over personally. No GTS. Dude, this is so, who actually used the GTS, man? I'm sorry you can't put your level 90, you know, you can't put your level 3 Caterpie on there for a 97 Giratina, okay? I don't think the GTS is a big deal. The $20 price increase for less content. I don't think it's less content from my understanding. I really don't think it's gonna be less content. Maybe it is, but regardless, all Switch games pretty much are $60. It's unrealistic to expect it to be less than that. I think the price increase is just people just complaining, personally. Performance locked to 30 FPS. That is a bit annoying. It would be nice for it to go to 60 FPS, but it still runs smooth, I would imagine. Game-breaking bugs. I don't know about the game-breaking bugs. Hope they can patch that. Overall lack of quality. There may be some lack of quality, and then there's some examples here, and then they're saying the franchise, the starters are shiny locked, yada yada yada. Franchise deserve better, you deserve better. Okay, so let me sum this up. I agree that they could do better. I agree, and I think any game company can do better. But does that mean that this game is garbage and you should not get it? I don't think so. I'm gonna still play it. One, I love Pokemon, so pretty much any main series game that comes out, I'm gonna try it. And two, I wanna experience it myself. A few graphical mishaps, a few less Pokemon, you know, $20 more, whatever it is, none of that bothers me personally. Like, I can genuinely sit here and say it doesn't bother me. And I know I'm gonna get the comments, aDrive, you game freak shill, you're just trying to make money. I said at the beginning of the video, I'm a Pokemon fan. I'm a Pokemon fan before I'm a YouTuber, before I'm a Twitch streamer. If I wasn't playing on Twitch or YouTube, I would have the same feelings I have now. I really would, man. I genuinely would have the same feelings I have now. So, ultimately, I've said this a million times. You are so welcome to oppose this game. You are so welcome to protest and say you want better and whatever else. The only true way for your point to be gotten across is to not buy the game, though. And that's just the reality of it. You obviously can make your voice heard online and things like that in a non-toxic, kind of fighting way. But ultimately, you know, the way you're going to boycott the game is by not buying it. And if the sales tank, then they're going to make some changes. If this ends up being the best-selling Pokemon game of all time, they're gonna probably cut the corners and keep doing what they're doing. And at the end of the day, it's still Pokemon. I'm still excited for the adventure. I'm still excited to go play through the Galar region. I'm still excited for competitive and shiny hunting and the max raid battles. I think there is a lot of charm to this game. So until it comes out, I'm gonna reserve my judgments. Now, I understand that a lot of these points were from people who have already played it, and I get that. And this game may end up being trash, and if it is, I will make a video and say that this game was garbage and I was wrong. But honestly, I'm ready for the Galar region, and I'm ready for Sword and Shield, and I'm excited about it. And a little bit of graphic issues, a few missing Pokemon, $20 more, whatever, shiny lock starters, that's not going to keep me away from my favorite game in the world, which is Pokemon Sword and Shield, or Pokemon in general. I hope you guys are with me. I wanted to make a video because, like I said, I've been very positive on this channel because that's who I am. I'm a positive person. I'm excited for the games, but there's another side too. So I wanted to address all the kind of counterpoints and give my thoughts on them. And obviously, at the end of the day, I basically said that I don't think they were that big of a deal, but that's just me. I just feel like nobody has nitpicked the older Pokemon games to this extent. It's mind-blowing. I think if the National Dex never happened, I don't think people would be complaining at all. It is what it is, man. Hit that like button. Subscribe if you guys are new. Let me know in the comment section below your thoughts. Try to keep it civil. Thank you guys for watching. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.